There's lots of really skitsy stuff going on out there. A lot of people, the internet is both a blessing and a curse. And the blessing is that you can share your thoughts with a bunch of people from across the world and compare ideas. And the curse of it is that you can share your thoughts with a bunch of people from across the world and share ideas. And yes, that's a paradox, but it's true. This was sometime a paradox, but now the time has borne it out, to quote Hamlet. It can be a curse and it can be a blessing. It's a blessing if you're talking to people who are prudent and who don't leap to conclusions, who, when they spot something that seems interesting or unusual, check it out, and then if it checks out and it's not what they were suspecting, then they cease to be. And then they say, "Okay, well, I guess that explains that," and they get on with things instead of just, when they get an explanation, they just, instead of just getting an explanation that's perfectly reasonable, and their response is, "Well, I still feel the way I feel because I do, because you can't trust what they're telling us," and which, of course, that's the thing, you can't. That's what has given rise to all of this conspiracy culture in the first place. Anyway, I've been kind of a little bit at my wit's end with a lot of things surrounding Charlie Kirk, a lot of the things that people have been saying online. Just because some of it is interesting, some of it is worth checking out, some of it is so freaking retarded, and yet there's no retardation. There's no means of getting rid of the retardation. It's like if somebody has a stupid idea and they're going to just stick with it, and other people are going to say, yeah, me too, I believe that too, in spite of evidence to the contrary. Well, then, you're just going to have a bunch of people who are just choosing to be misinformed. But I don't want to go over too much about. I mean, it's a jungle out there. It's a jungle in there, meaning or on there, meaning on the internet, on social media, among the conspiracy type of people, and they're my people. I'm one of them, but I've just sort of I'm losing some patience here with some of this stuff. But I'm not going to go into that anymore. I'm just wanting to register my thoughts, which is just to say, look into things. Don't just believe everything you read. Don't just believe what you're told. Of course, investigate things, and when you find anomalies, then note them, and that there's nothing wrong with that. But what you shouldn't do is just dismiss something that goes against what you think it should be or what you want it to be, just because it's inconvenient to you, and then just say, "Well, I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it." If you do that, you're not really helping. And unfortunately, as I said, there doesn't seem to be a way of separating the wheat from the chaff, or the wheat from the chaff. So these stupid ideas get bounced around out there, and they get as much, if not more, weight or attention, or more credibility is lent to them than things that actually are substantial and credible. So just be discerning is all I'm saying. I'm really disappointed. Daddy here is really disappointed with what he's seeing online. Please don't disappoint Daddy. All right. Please do better. Okay. That's all I'm saying. I don't know what prompted that, but anyway, with that little preamble aside, I do want to talk about some skitsy things that are quite interesting and indicate some kind of synchronicity, some kind of weird, connectedness to events. I don't think the things I'm about to say, I don't think they indict anyone or suggest that any alternative explanation of the events are more real than the official story, which I still more or less adhere to. Which, hate me for that if you want. I don't know. I'm not adhering. I'm open-minded though. I'm open to things. I just think, I tend to believe that the whole idea that Tyler Robinson did it, this leftist trans friendly guy with a boyfriend who's transitioning, in the midst of Mormon Utah, that someone like that could have the means and the motive and the ability to pull something like this off. It just, there's sometimes where there are lone gunmen. It's not just a myth. It's not, it's not just because it's something. It's an official story that does not check out in many cases, like the JFK case. I think it checks out here, but that's just me right now. I'm open to ideas. But anyway, here's the skitsy stuff that I think is interesting to look at. I find interesting to look at. Because, I find pop culture interesting. So when there's a movie or a song or a music video that has weird connections to a recent event, I always perk up my ears at that. That's always really interesting. Like all of the Back to the Future thing, how Back to the Future is about 9/11. Like whoever made that video about the resemblances of Back to the Future movies with 9/11. That thing is like, that is a masterclass that I recommend seeing. But anyway, and you can find it. I don't know. I won't be able to link to it here, but you can find it. But here's the couple of things, the skitsy things that are very, very interesting, and maybe you've heard about it already. But the two things I'm going to talk about are the movie Snake Eyes. First of all, this is a movie that came out in 1998, and I remember going to see it when it came out. I was one of the few who went to see it. It did not do very well. Upon its release, I think it's maybe become somewhat of a cult, developed somewhat of a cult following since. But at the time, it sort of just fizzled out at the theaters. Directed by Brian De Palma, who's directed a lot of great movies. Starring our friend Nicolas Cage. There's only one Nicolas Cage, right? There can never be another. And Gary Sinise and a few other people. I can't think of the rest of the cast. But the parallels between a lot of the things that happen in the movie and what we and the events surrounding the assassination of Charlie Kirk are interesting to note. First of all, the movie is set in Atlantic City at a casino that's owned by Trump in real life. That's just or was owned by Trump at the time in real life. So that's just an interesting, it's not a part of the world of the movie, but it's an interesting fact. And there's about to be a boxing match, and a lot of important people are at this boxing match, including someone who is I think a cabinet member or a senator or somebody important, whose name is Charles Kirkland. And Charles Kirkland in this movie, at a crucial point during the boxing match, gets assassinated. He gets shot in the neck. And more interesting parallels are the boxer who we find out it's an elaborate conspiracy, of course, that unravels over the course of the movie. But there's a boxer who takes the fall in this movie, and that boxer is named Tyler Lincoln, which is interesting. And I know that Tyler has some meaning, some Masonic meaning. He's the one who guards the door, apparently, from what I've heard. I don't know much Masonic stuff. I don't really refer to Masonry that much, or Masonic imagery that much. But that's interesting. The parallel with a Tyler who is accused and some people think is taking the fall for this event, and a Charles Kirkland who gets shot in the neck is also interesting. The movie is there's a part at the beginning where you see the marquee at this casino. I guess it's a casino with an arena in it, where they have boxing matches, and the marquee sign seems to say that it's September 10th, and it reads Tyler the Executioner Lincoln. You can do what you want. Lincoln also seems like it's pregnant there. Another person who was assassinated. You can do a lot with that, or do something with that. So it all takes place apparently on September 10th. There's a Charles Kirkland who gets shot in the neck, very similar to the name of Charlie Kirk, who got shot in the neck on September 10th as well. Also, the event is menaced by inclement weather, and there's a hurricane that's brewing nearby that sort of threatens the event, although everybody still shows up. That doesn't get called off because it's this huge fight that we find out. There's an elaborate conspiracy for why the fight gets thrown and everything. But anyway, the hurricane is named Hurricane Jezebel. Hurricane Jezebel. Now, maybe you've heard, maybe you haven't, but on Monday the 8th, Jezebel magazine came out with this hilarious article where they were talking about finding witches online and paying them to put a hex on Charlie Kirk. And after the assassination, they removed this article. But of course, the internet is forever. You can still find it. You can still find it talked about, even though Jezebel tried to distance themselves from it. When you have a magazine named Jezebel, magazine named after an evil woman, that just tells you everything you need to know about those people, doesn't it? So Hurricane Jezebel is threatening this event. Yet another parallel with life. with that movie. And I'm not going to go into any other details about the movie because I don't want to be tedious. I'm already threatening to be tedious, I guess, with some of the stuff. But check it out. Check out the movie if you're interested. I think it's definitely interesting to see the parallels. For me, it was interesting because I remember the movie, and I think a couple of years ago, I might have done, looked back at it and done a review of it, a video review. I can't find that in my archives, but I remember, distinctly remember watching it again, many, many years later, and sharing my thoughts about it before any of this stuff was even being talked about. All right, and the other interesting document to consider, and I'm not going to link to either of these, but you can find them on your own if you're interested, is there is a music video by a country western band, and the name of the song is My Kinda Crazy, or You're My Kinda Crazy. It's one or the other. And the video was filmed in 2012. This was the year that Erica Kirk, before she was Erica Kirk, this was the year she was she had her maiden name, which I don't know how to pronounce. I've seen it, but it looks tricky to pronounce. It's some sort of Scandinavian looking name, but she had just won the Miss Arizona pageant, so she was kind of on the rise at the time as a beauty, as a model, whatever. And so she appeared in this country music video, My Kinda Crazy. And in the video, she's just she's sort of she's sort of hanging out, looking kind of sexy, but not too like sort of in jean shorts and boots and stuff, and like, so yeah, it's a but it's not as it doesn't go so far in that direction as it could. I think it avoids being too scandalous, considering that she's now this mother figure and this widow figure that it seems like a lot of people online really hate, and not just people on the left. It seems like there's a lot of people out there who just despise this woman. I don't get it, but I don't mean to simp for her or anything. I just don't get it. But anyway, in this video, which features her, there is this it takes place in Vegas, and the guy in the band, the band is sort of hanging around with Erica, and they're just sort of having fun doing stuff in Vegas. And there's one scene where she gets on a zip line and rides the zip line thing down this indoor location, down this corridor, and she rides right past a depiction of the numbers 9, 10. 9 colon 10 is, and we see her go right past that number. So that's pretty strange. I mean, that's a really freaky synchronicity. I don't think it demonstrates that she is complicit in what happened to her husband on 9/10, of this year, 9/10/2025. But it is a freaky coincidence. But it is really, I do want to talk, maybe this should be the subject of another video. I do find it really strange and kind of disheartening and kind of disturbing just how many people, and not just crazy left-wing people, because you'd expect it of them, but people on the right who are just, digging into the story and going after, like saying, that it was a Mossad hit or whatever, which, I'm open to that possibility. I'm not seeing evidence for it right now. It seems like a lot of these people just absolutely despise Erica Kirk, just hate her, and I think it's really sad. I mean, I'll admit it. Call me a simp or whatever, but I think she's a widow. I think she is not someone who conspired to have her husband killed. I don't think she, contra Nick Fuentes, I don't think that she just came up with this idea of forgiving her husband's killer because, for PR reasons or something like that. I thought Nick was way, way out of line in saying that. So, and people think that she held up her hands making a devil signal, and that's been voiced around a lot of places. But y'all, if you think this way, if you think that she was when she held up her hands, and it was like this, y'all thought thought she was saying, "Yeah, I worship the devil," ha ha ha. No, this is. Can I do it again? Yeah. This is the American Sign Language symbol for "I love you," and I'll refrain from filming innocent people. And so Erica Kirk was making this gesture with her hands because she knows American Sign Language, because she'd done some volunteer work with troubled children, and she'd learned some sign language along the way. And there was a big poster of her husband on the wall, or on the other side of the stadium. That was what she was gesturing to. She was saying, "I love you, Charlie." But people are just not going to be talked out of saying, "No, that's the devil sign. She made the devil sign. She threw up the devil horns." Look, the devil horns would be this, okay? Not the thumb. Not the thumb. There's no thumb in devil horns. These are horns. This is "I love you," okay? But anyway, I didn't mean to go into. I wasn't actually going to go into those specifics, but I just find it kind of appalling, in my opinion. But anyway, those are some things, and maybe there are some other weird skitsy things that are legit and that are worth examining. And my jury's always out. But those are my thoughts on the matter.